So this is an update after completely painting the roof. The low was only about 78, so this is definitely hotter than it's ever been inside the house this early in the morning. It's about 6:30 in the morning. I'm gonna get a quick ambient temperature of the attic. Let's go right through that fan, and it's actually cooler up there than it is in here. So here it is, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, except it's about a week and a half after filming that morning video. It's been overcast and rainy ever since then, so I didn't want to do an update if it would throw off the results. So right now it's sunny, it's about 89 to 90 degrees outside, and again it's 1 o'clock. So here's the temperature reading of the floor. Also, one thing to note before I continue is this morning the lowest I got was 77 degrees, just because it was a really hot and stuffy night. So let's see, 80 degrees, ceiling's probably pretty hot. 80. So again, not much difference between the ambient temperature of the house and the actual ceiling right here. So that's good to see. Luckily I have a clear shot to the roof deck with the fan out of the way. So I could go right through there and get a roof reading. Yeah, it's only 92 degrees. So not bad at all, considering it's been in the sun all day for about 4 hours, 5 hours or so. Direct sunlight. 87. So 87 ambient temperature and 90 or so roof deck temperature. What I'm gonna do now is actually go out to the back, put the lighter up on the deck, and then show you a close-up of the paint to see what it looks like in direct sunlight and dry. You're gonna have the ground floor inside, and here's outside. So it's actually pretty hot out there, 95. That's an update of temperatures all around outside at 1 o'clock or so. The paint on the deck is reaching upwards of 170 degrees in the direct sunlight, which is ridiculous. I should never have colored it this dark. I'm definitely going to be painting everything white going forward in my lifetime. But lesson learned here, the roof is about 100 degrees or so. I took a reading off a neighbor's house and their roof is peaking about 140. So definitely a good difference there. So the top of the roof is around 100 and the roof decking underneath is about 90 and 91 or so. So not much difference. There's very little resistance to conduction going through the roof decking. So that's good information to know. I'm going to do an update again at 5 o'clock, doing the same thing. I'm going to do an inside temperature reading as well as an outside roof and ambient temperature reading. Okay, so it's 5 o'clock, so this is the last update of the temperature. Okay, up there on the deck, around 97. Not bad. 90 right there. Let's see what the fan is. I think this is the same as before, around 91 ambient attic temperature. So again, this was like 135 ambient temperature before the coating, and the roof was like up to 145. So still just, massive difference. This is like almost 50 degrees, which is crazy. So on here, you can see it's hotter, of course. So now I'm gonna go outside and look at the roof again and take some more readings outside. So those are the final results temperature-wise that the coating made. I also whitewashed the concrete out there. I tried to get some temperature readings down there. It's definitely much cooler than it was before coating it, even though it was a light gray to begin with. So it's pretty much worth it to whitewash everything to reflect the UV rays. So now I'm going to go over how I painted the roof, like actually rolling it and mixing the paint, as well as any tips of how to apply it and stuff that I ran into, as well as an update on the lime wash's ability to withstand the rain. We've had a ton of rain. We've actually had several high wind storms. So we're talking gusts of up to 60 miles per hour with rain in it. Since it didn't wash off, it's actually sticking pretty good to the roof. And from what I understand, it just continues to cure back the calcium carbonate. Once it's cured at that point, basically, it's almost permanent. It'll slowly chalk over the years, but that's about it. So to mix the lime, all I needed was some 5-gallon buckets as well as a water hose, and I just used a container to put the powder into the bucket. After I put it into the bucket, I needed a drill. It needs to be fairly powerful if you're mixing large amounts because there's a lot of torque on it. So I just used a paddle mixer like a normal paint mixture and mixed it up. I mixed it to the consistency of roughly pancake batter. So to test this, I just had a stick I would dip in after mixing some and test to see how runny it was. You definitely want to be wearing protective equipment, including gloves and a long sleeve shirt and pants, as well as some goggles. And I also wore a respirator just because the lime is a very fine powder, so it can get airborne easily. I transferred the paint from the 5-gallon buckets to smaller containers that I could just pour out of. So I just had a bunch of trash containers like laundry detergent containers and stuff. So I just removed the lid on them and just poured it straight onto the roof. After pouring it on, I then just rolled it with the roller. And this is fairly straightforward. I used a 3/4 inch nap roller to make sure it could get deeply into the cracks in between the shingles. You gotta watch out for what's beneath you as well as all around you because you will fling the paint as you roll it. And same as before, you definitely want to be wearing the same protective equipment minus the respirator. Also, you definitely want to be doing this in the shade because if the sun's out, it'll dry off too quickly and it might not stick correctly. I did some finish passes just to make sure it's completely uniform. As far as the rain performance, here's a view of it in the pouring rain. I get a few close-ups of it coming out of a gutter. You can see there's no visible whiteness to the water, suggesting that it's not washing off at all. This is roughly 3 days after putting on the coat, so it doesn't take long for it to harden and stick very well to the roof. Here's a better view of the running water. And those are the final results from painting my roof with lime. Thanks for watching and I hope it helps.